And we're back. Hobby of Hours and Talking Timepieces with Tony. What up, Tony?
What up, D?
Another day on the job, brother.
That's right.
Let's do it.
Yes, I'm down.
You know, when I go on these little trips, I like to get as much juice out of the orange as possible. So I've absconded with Tony from Talking Timepieces with Tony. Also, the owner-host of the website, TonyGambleArtist.com. By all means, please do check it out. Get you some art, get you some mugs, get you a beanie if you want a beanie.
Beanies
are coming.
Man. Yes, beanies.
Beanies is what's up.
Yeah.
So in my little adventure in LA, Tony and I met up, chit-chatting, talking some watches, and wanted to kind of do a debrief on some of the Watches and Wonders 2026 stuff. A lot of folks, here's the thing, that's funny, like a lot of people are turbo into it, and a lot of people are turbo against it.
Yeah.
I love watching it from afar. I can't imagine going there for that, but I love Rolex predictions. I love it. For me, it's so much fun.
Is it?
It's like, I love the guys, like ID Guy is probably my favorite predictor because he's an industrial designer. He does all the mock-ups in Photoshop or whatever.
Okay.
I've started doing that myself too with AI. I have yet to get one right, but I still have a ton of fun doing it, and I love talking with other eminent watch horological sources as to what they thought was fun and neat about the releases of the year. So maybe we'll go onesie, twosies. Once you kick it off, Tony, tell me what you liked.
What I liked, I'm always looking forward, of course, to what Rolex is going to do.
Yeah.
I am, a huge Rolex fanboy. Always have been, and that's not because the hype wagon or anything like that. That's just where I've been through, my whole life with watches is Rolex. And so I don't expect them to do all that much generally because they're so subtle in a lot of their designs sometimes, You know what I mean? So let me just put Rolex out of the equation because I didn't really see anything that I thought was like, wow, gotta
Stand
have
out.
it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought the new day date was pretty cool with their new gold and the stones they're using and the sort of the green dial. But apart from that, I always get excited about what Cartier is going to do.
Me too.
Again, huge Cartier fan.
Me too, brother.
And Zenith as well, and Tudor. So in this case, though, what really stood out to me, which really, it's almost like not worth talking about because it's so unobtainium, and it's like, but the Zenith GFJ.
You love your GFJs, brother.
You know what? But when you're looking at a caliber in that watch called the 135, which is so iconic, and it has won more awards than any watch brand, including Patek Philippe.
Oh.
They just also won the GPHG award for, I think, outstanding horology, whatever it may have been. I can't remember exactly, but they brought back that movement, and last year they came out with the JFG with the lapis dial, platinum case, 39 millimeter.
I think that's the one that placed the JPHG, if I recall.
Yeah, that's the one, right? Yeah. So the new dial variations and case variations is the tantalum case with the sort of slate gray dial, diamond indices, and I think that watch is gorgeous. They only made like 20 pieces of that. The rose gold with the green is another beautiful watch. I just think they're outstanding. I think what they should do is put that in a stainless steel variation and put a decent retail price on it, and it will sell, because basically Zenith are not really known for the dressier style watches so much as now like the Defies and so. But I think that really hit me when I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh. But I knew it was going to be not only very expensive, very hard to get.
What, 300? Is it in the hundreds of thousands or is it 80,000?
The green one I think is 80,000.
Ooh,
like, yeah, it's pretty. They're up there, man. It's like you gotta be. I think they made 150 of. I can't remember which. I'm kind of getting scattered here because I'm remembering what they made last year was 150. Anyway, that GFJ is sick just because of the movement itself,
right.
And then of course with Cartier, I know you're not probably a Roadster guy, but I've owned 2 of them when they first came out.
I think this Roadster looks better than the other
It
ones.
does. It's a sort of slimmed down a little bit, right?
It looks a little bit cleaner
Yeah.
to use it. It's not my cuppa, but I don't mind that it exists.
What about the Tour 2?
I love the Cartier releases. Speaking broadly, Rolex, I would like to see that Daytona dial.
Yeah.
It's just another Daytona I can't get. I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything from them this year that knocked my socks off.
Right.
But I also had to slow my roll a little bit. And I like the watch community's expectation for something magnificent every year is unrealistic. And this is the first year I kind of put myself in check on that concept.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people bash like brands who just come out with a new dial.
Yeah.
But if you figure it takes 3 to 5 years to execute a design, you can't have magic every 12 months. So,
I know.
So I'm less personally offended if something didn't knock my socks off.
Right.
And just to wrap Tudor real quick, I think their Monarch California dial watch, I think the watch is excellent. It was too orange of a salmon for me personally.
Yeah.
But I love where they're going with it because they've never really had a strong dress watch in the modern.
Right.
But coming back to Cartier, I adore the Cartier releases, but for them to, here's the thing, I'm a little butthurt. They're not releasing a jumping hour in steel that I could afford.
Oh,
I mean, the platinum was 50 grand. On a whim, I went into my AD and said, hey, can I get put on a list for that? Very kind woman. She was treating me with kindness. She's like, well, D, to get a platinum, you have to submit an application.
Yeah.
And just to give you an example, the last guy who got one from here has his own jet, his own business, yada, yada, yada. She was not being dismissive or elitist at all. We had a friendly enough rapport that she just laid it down real smooth for me. Like, even if I had the 50 G's for it, which I didn't, although I would buy it, wear it for a couple years and sell for 200. Who am I kidding, right? Dip into the 401k. They always release their best stuff in is it the Privé line?
Yes. Which kind of replaced the CP.
The CP, which I love the CP watches. Yeah. Not a lot of people know about those, and so you can kind of find them in real auctions periodically. But the Tour 2 is not, I'm not very much into tonneau, Tour 2, or cushion style cases generally.
Yeah.
Yes, it's beautiful. I think that they've got real horology going on. They're not just a jeweler. It's like some people write them off as just as a jeweler, which is incorrect, I feel.
I absolutely agree. 1,000%. You know, it's constantly like people do that. I've had comments on my page that go, that are, some of the negative ones, but it doesn't matter when people go, I don't count Cartier as the number 2 watch under Rolex as far as selling wise because they're a jewelry brand. It's like, doesn't matter. They're still the number 2 selling watch brand, not the jewelry, but the watches. And they make stunning pieces, and for the most part the prices have gone up, of course, on everything, but at the same time it's like they make classic, stunning, simple pieces. They do have high horology, they have their Privé line, they have but there's something for everybody there. If
you can get excellent pricing on pre-owned pieces. Maybe it's not the model that just came out,
right?
But they're owned by Richemont, yes?
The Richemont group.
I have one dig on Cartier, only one dig. Years ago, they had a bunch of watches that hadn't sold, and instead of holding on to them or doing whatever or letting them slip into the secondary market, they destroyed them. Thousands of brand new, unworn, unpurchased.
Don't say that.
And the reason is
That's
they
sacrilegious, man.
I know, they didn't want their products being undervalued in the marketplace, getting bought by like a Joma shop or a whomever, and for 30% off.
Right.
I understand the business of it, but I found it heartbreaking, if not Disney villain level treachery.
Yes.
That's the only bad thing I have. Not my Cartiers that I own. I have a couple.
Yeah.
I'm hunting a couple other pre-owned.
Yeah.
And you can get amazing stuff. I would love to have a jump hour Cartier, but it's always been in either platinum or gold and unobtainium. Like,
yeah, totally.
50 grand at the AD if I get the call, and then 200. Like the last year's release just floored me, the asymmetrical one. I just loved it.
Yeah.
All right, let me see. What else did I like? Wristwatch check. Tudor.
IWC.
Mark 20 in the house. IWC had a really neat watch. I kind of call it their space watch.
Yeah.
I don't remember the right term.
That's right.
Voyager. I think it's called the Voyager.
Okay. Massive 46 millimeter.
I tell you what, you bring that out in 40 or maybe in 42, I could pull it off.
Yeah.
I just think it's beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure the horology's in it.
Yeah.
But I really admired just the look of the piece, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's like one of those watches that, it's just, you know what it is, and what, it's, no one else is going to know. But that's the beautiful thing about it, that quiet luxury, But what did you think of the new JLC releases?
I didn't go down all of the avenues. I need to, I own Reversos, adore it. Like the stuff, like a couple years ago, they released this massive one that had all these complications on it. It was a brick, but wow, there was something happening on all four sides. Like the undercase and the back of the case, there was a watch on all four sides. It was just amazing. What for the sake of the viewers, what did you enjoy from JLC this year?
Perpetual calendar, However, I don't know the reference on it, and I think they're beautiful aesthetically, but I definitely prefer them on a strap as opposed to the bracelet.
Interesting.
And some people are just strap guys, and some people are just bracelet guys, and some people are just. I was only ever a strap guy, and the only watch ever that I would wear on a bracelet was a Rolex. But now I'm kind of getting into both. But with certain watches, I still go, no, that would look better on a strap, or then some watches that looks better on a bracelet. Like for instance, if I see like the JLC new perpetual calendar or whatever, I definitely see that on a strap. But just like when I see like the Rolex Yachtmaster on the Flex bracelet, the rubber strap, I just don't like it, man. I just Oyster Flex bracelet anyway. So I was like, but I prefer Rolex on the bracelet, So certain watches. So I'm not opposed to, I don't hate one or the other. It's just I think some watches will look better, just like that Monarch Tudor. I think that would look better on a strap than on.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think it can. I don't. It looks integrated, but I don't think it's limiting.
Right.
I don't think the integration is limiting your option, which I think is great.
Yeah.
I made one prediction that was correct for this year, and it's really not a stellar one. I had the sense that Universal Genève was going to be a big splash, and they kind of were.
Yeah.
I love that Breitling bought them. I love that they brought them back. I abhor the price point.
Yeah, ridiculous.
It's like, here's the thing. If you're going to have a go-to-market strategy on a well-known chronograph that everyone's clamoring to bring back, and the vintage ones are cruising in Daytona territory, you have to attack the Daytona market and make your watches available, and then you will be a smashing success, I perceive.
Yeah.
But they're higher at list. Daytona out the door with tax is $18K now.
Yeah,
I can't even really approach it, even though I desire one. And the UG, I think, is 20, if not 25.
Yeah.
And the Nina, obviously the first, they brought the Pole router back limited, the Nina Rent limited, super gold, or a trio set for 170K.
Yeah.
Okay, have a special edition, test the water maybe, but man.
The pricing, when I saw the pricing, I was like, you're out of your mind. I'm sorry. It's like, I think it's a lot of ego, that comes out of this stuff. Like we're bringing this back and we're going to make a splash and we're going to bring it out with this pricing. And it's like, dude, no one's going to, there's people that are going to buy them, of course, but it's not going to be, and no one, for the most part, doesn't know what Universal Genève is anyway. Except for hardcore watch people.
For an Eric Clapton or Evo Eric Clapton or Geddy Lee to be cruising 25, 30K, I never understood that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's, I don't know. I can't kind of get this like, oh my gosh. lose the ego.
Yeah.
You know, but the Swiss in general, they don't care what anyone thinks for the most part. They do things based off of we do it because we can and we will and we'll charge this and we'll do it. Few companies do listen, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for the most part, you know, it's that sort of what makes you think you're going to put this at this price point and it's going to sell, you know? And I don't know. I agree on that. The pricing, you know.
It's not a reverso, but it's they have a flipper watch.
Yeah.
And it's very Art Deco. The numbers look gorgeous. They have a green one, which is right up my alley.
Okay.
It was very beautiful, but unobtainium probably.
Yeah.
But it was. They brought some nice. They brought back the Disco Volante, which is not quite an oval, but very much a design of the 70s, which didn't make sense to me. Yes, bring back your pull router. Yes, they've got a ton of colorways out the gate, which I thought was special.
Yeah.
But I'll be interested to see what those look like down the road. I have one other one that's the belle of the ball for me.
Yeah.
It's the Parmigiani.
The GMT with the four hands.
The chronograph Mysterios or something, where the chronograph hands are hidden underneath the hour and the minute hand, and you hit a side button to actuate it, and they spring out and start doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know how practical it is for timing, but I adored it immediately.
Yeah, it's you know, I saw it and I was like, all right, cool. It's a novelty, you know.
Yeah.
And it's Parmigiani, you know. And you know, again, that's what the watches and wonders, a lot of wonders aspect of it. Is it really useful? I mean, not really. Is a tourbillon useful? No, not at all. But is it beautiful? Hell yeah.
I bet that's going to make a showing at GPHG in one of the categories. It's 36 grand, so it's not really in my price band.
Right.
In fact, it's nowhere near my price band. But I love it. Yeah. I'm so glad they did it. I find it a better flex than getting watches thinner and thinner and thinner. To my knowledge, no one has ever done. The only closest thing is a Rattrapant, where the second hand hides under the main chronograph hand. But to do it with everything, bravo, Parmigiani, bravo.
Yeah, it's definitely cool.
All right, well, I almost have to wrap up, get him back, because he's on to another scene.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on Watches and Wonder 2026, sir?
Yeah, next year, just like I say every year, please bring back the morning and the evening show. That was awesome. You had reporter walking around, going through all the booths. It's nice to see some of the YouTubers walking around, but a lot of their cameras shaky and, you know, and it's, I don't know. But, you know, I really enjoyed that part of it. And there's a lot to Watches and Wonders than just seeing new releases, I think. You know, especially for the people that don't go to Watches and Wonders. I mean, but, you know, that's all, you know.
Yeah. I think a blog to watch is one of my favorite news sources for it.
Okay.
For me, they always have the best coverage.
Oh, okay.
Quite nearly live as it's going, because I guess they've got an army of reporters there or whatnot.
Oh, okay.
But I want to say thank you to Tony for coming along for another ride along, brother. Appreciate you, my man. Great to spend some quality time.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you for coming along on the ride in this wonderful, beautiful hobby of ours.
Yes.
We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Laters on the man, Jay.
There you go.
If you'd like to support the channel, head over to hobbyofhours.com. We've got artwork, coffee mugs, hats, t-shirts, and even a watch book. 1001 Watch Designs, Volume 1. Over 1,000 designs in here. Steampunk, super futuristic, kaleidoscope, even super real ones. Watches that you could probably put on your wrist today. It's a great way to support the channel. Thanks for coming along on the ride.